Well, hello everyone, and welcome to We Never Met. It is a podcast where I interview interesting strangers every single week, and we are obviously live here at the Recraft and Relic. Look at all these great things that you can get, and we have today with us. You can introduce yourself, Jamie.
Jamie Bradford.
And if you could summarize like what you do really quick, what would that be? Just so people have an idea before we go in here.
So I make furniture. My company is Wisconsin Farmhouse, and I make and design furniture.
Yeah, and you do a lot of woodworking and things like that.
Yeah, all woodworking all day long.
How did that even start? How do you begin to start woodworking?
Well, you walk into your garage and you say, "Give me a piece of wood."
And then you just do it.
And then you just do it, and all of a sudden the wood just forms into something.
Yeah.
And then you clap and go, "I did it."
What was the first thing that you made?
So the first thing I ever did was I made a pallet wood chest.
Okay.
So pallet wood's free.
Yep.
And so it's a really inexpensive way to be able to get into it. And
Yeah.
I went to Pinterest. Pinterest.
Yeah, you didn't scroll on there for hours.
No, oh, horrible. So I went to Pinterest and I found a picture of a pallet wood chest and I said, "Oh wow, that looks really easy. I can totally do that."
Yeah.
A month later in my garage in December.
Oof.
With one saw and one drill.
So how did it turn out?
It's still in my office because nobody will let me get rid of it.
Really?
Because it's the first thing every day, but it has no glue, which is the woodworker's number one thing is you always want to use glue.
Yeah.
Yeah, no glue. The whole thing is like the lid is falling apart, but yet nobody will let me throw it in the burn pile. So I'm like,
so you still have
still
it.
in there. But I took pictures of that and put it on Facebook, and that was in 2013.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden people started asking me to make them one, and I was like, absolutely not.
You just see what I went through for this one.
I'm like, yeah, it took me a month and I don't know what I'm doing, and no.
So why did you keep going back? Why did you keep creating more and more?
Well, so to be honest with you, I was going through a divorce at the time.
Okay.
And so to be able to put myself out of the pain of going through a divorce, I ended up going into my garage and doing that because I have 3 small kids.
Right.
And so I did the nap time hustle. I did it at night.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it was just something for me to keep going back to and doing to kind of keep my mind off of things and keep moving forward.
Yeah. So was there a specific project where it went from I'm just doing this at night when the kids are asleep to wow, this is actually awesome.
There was that aha moment.
What was it?
So I ended up doing a lot of stuff in my house. So I made shelves, I did a bedroom set for my girls, I did a desk for my son, and then I made this writing desk.
Okay.
And I put it in my office and it didn't work. And then one of my good friends was like, "Why don't you put it up for sale?" And I was like, "Are you crazy? Who's going to come?" I'm like, "Okay." She's like, "Just put it on Craigslist and see what happens." And I put it on Craigslist and I got a call. It was within a day, and they wanted to come pick it up. And I only charged $300. And my friend was kicking me. She's like, "It's worth so much more." And I'm like, "No, it's not." And this lady shows up at my house, and we load the desk into her car, in the back of her car.
Yeah.
And as she's driving down the driveway, leaving, I'm waiting for her to turn around as I'm holding cash. I'm like, "I'm so going to give this back to you." I'm like, "It's not good." No. But she never came back, and that kind of started to build my confidence.
Yeah. So from there, did you take on, or did people hear about it more and more? Or how do you develop and get clients from that?
I got business cards.
It's key. It's a major key.
2015, I got business cards.
Yeah.
And I formed my company. I formed Wisconsin Farmhouse. I was working completely out of my garage at that point, and people kept calling and or messaging me on Facebook, and they wanted me to try to do the next thing I did was a coffee table.
Okay.
And then that sold, and then somebody asked me to try to do a farmhouse table.
Okay.
And I was like, that sold, and it just kind of developed from there. And then I just talked to everybody about it, and then in 2015 I did Wisconsin Farmhouse, and then I was so big that I had to move out of my garage and I rented a shop.
Oh, wow.
Because I couldn't fit the equipment in my garage along with my big SUV to haul my 3 kids around.
Right.
So
right. Something had to give.
Something had to give. And so we ended up renting a shop. I ended up investing in better furniture making equipment and bigger saws and more power.
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my big break was that I got a commercial job and I got
Okay.
a restaurant. And so when I got that, and that was all because I was sitting next to somebody and talking to them when my daughter was in gymnastics. And she ended up following me on Facebook and then contacted me a year later and was like, we're building a restaurant. You know, you want to be involved.
That's so much stuff to make too.
Yeah, it was pretty stressful.
So what did you have to make in that restaurant? Like all the tables, all the everything?
Yeah, I did 20 benches, 8 tables, and then a 23-foot long barnwood table. It was milled out of one 24-foot long barn beam.
Wow. Is that stressful to do out of one long, so it was one long
One beam.
continued piece?
Super stressful when it was due in 2 weeks and I didn't have that
Oh,
table
yeah.
done. And that's their namesake.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
had everything else done except for the long table.
Oh.
Yeah.
So-
And then I got my husband, so I'm now remarried, but my husband saw this barn beam in a field in southwest Wisconsin.
Just sitting there?
It was sitting there. And he was like, well, we were getting other wood, other barn wood, and he was like, this will work. And I'm like, no, it won't. I'm like, I'm not up for your shenanigans.
Yeah.
Like, we have to get this done.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh no, this will work. We're going to drive back to Madison, get our like long bed trailer. And I'm like looking at him like, no, we aren't. No, we're going to stop at a bar, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
we're like, talk about this.
Yeah.
And we ended up picking it up. And then he's like, great, now we need to get it milled. I'm like, what? I'm like, are you crazy? We're not just going to chainsaw it, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, we had to go get it milled, and we found another guy that could mill it that day. Never happens.
Yeah.
And he milled it, and then I had to start to put together a 23-foot long table.
Was
And
that your biggest project to date?
Yeah, I
One
had
of 'em?
another restaurant. I had another one too where I did the restaurant and the entire office, and then I've had another office, and then I've had quite a few. It's just
Okay.
snowballed, which has been really, really great.
Yeah, I saw you
Yeah.
made a massive charcuterie board, like cheese board.
For the Wisconsin dairy farmers.
How long was that?
12 and a half feet.
Cheese. That's a lot of cheese.
It's a lot of cheese. And
Yeah.
that travels now the country and trade shows showcasing the Wisconsin cheese.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So you
yeah.
get to see your work all over.
Yeah, you can follow that board. Yeah, like super
Really?
funny. Yep, and you can flip it every which way. It's really cool. Yeah.
So did they come to you with that kind of idea, or were you just like, let me see how far I can push this?
No, they came to me. They already had a 40-foot, so they broke the record for the largest Wisconsin cheese board over the summer with a 40-foot board around the Capitol in Madison.
Oh.
And so they broke that, and they came to me, and they were like, this board is way too heavy to
Yeah.
be hauling around. And I was like, okay. And they're like, can you make us something smaller? I'm like, sure. What are you thinking? Like, like a 6-foot board,
Right, like
a 4-foot? And they're like, no, 12 and a half feet. And I'm like, oh, okay. And they were like, we need it in 2 weeks.
Oh, so what was the process like for starting something like that? Like,
Wood. So like I deal now all in hardwood. So I used to
Okay.
do, when I first started, I did a lot of like pine and lumber store stuff. And now I've graduated into the hardwoods. So that's like, like a elm, cherry, walnut.
Okay.
And so I took samples to them. They picked one out right away because they knew it had to be done. And then I mill all my own wood. So
oh, wow.
yeah, for me, being alone in the shop, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, because
it's a good workout.
I was going to say,
workout.
I don't really know necessarily what milling entails. What is that even?
Oh, it means that you have to size up your boards and shape them and square them, and then you also
Okay.
have to run them through the planer and get all the bark off and get them, and then you also have to flatten them because they don't come out straight and flat.
Right.
They're all cupped.
Oh,
They're a
okay.
mess.
Yeah.
So you got to put them together so that you have something nice, smooth, and seamless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
good luck.
I'm not going to start that. I'm not going to start
You don't
milling wood.
start there.
You don't?
No.
I just throw me into the miller.
No, you just go to the lumber yard and start with some wood.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's that. So what would be on that topic one tip that you could give to people that would want to start woodworking or something like that? What's one thing that could elevate their projects to the next level?
Look for inspiration.
Okay.
So get on Instagram, get on Pinterest, get
Yeah.
on Facebook, look at pictures and decide what you want to do. There's so much there. There's sign makers, there's frame makers, there's table makers. I mean, everything out there, bowl turning,
Right.
anything that you think, and then go to YouTube and go to the bookstore, go to the library. Don't buy your books, go to the library. They have got a huge selection of books and
Yeah.
you can learn about everything.
Is that how
Everything.
you developed your skills? Like, how did you develop along the way?
Lots of air. Trying over.
Yeah.
Trial and error, and books. I checked out a lot of books when I first started. I used to stay up till like 1 a.m. watching YouTube videos on like, some of my favorite people that now I'm like at their level.
Yeah,
It's so
isn't that
great.
cool though?
It's fun,
Yeah.
because now I can actually like talk to them about something that means something.
Yeah.
Because I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Finally,
Rather
right?
than before, like, if you were like me, and I'm
I'd
like,
be
oh,
like-
how do you mill something? I don't know.
I'd be like, I don't know. What are you talking about? I just go to the lumber store. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's so cool though. I mean, I also saw. I mean, and if they follow you on Instagram, they can see too that you are redoing an entire house.
Yes.
In Sheboygan.
In Sheboygan.
So
Yay.
how do you, when you saw that house, because I saw it before, or I looked through the pictures and saw it before, and I'm like,
It was really
oh
bad.
my goodness,
It
like
was
that's
really
a lot
bad.
of work.
Yeah. We
So
gutted
why-
the entire thing.
Yeah, why did you choose that one specifically? What was the thing about?
That particular house, so this is a funny story. So my husband took me on a fishing trip on Lake Michigan for salmon.
Okay.
Okay, I love to fish. Grew up fishing.
Really?
Yeah. So as we were leaving, I decided that we're going to buy a boat because we're never going to go out on a charter again.
Yeah.
And B, we're going to buy a house. And so because we were driving through the neighborhood and we saw all these really historic homes in Sheboygan that were a block off Lake Michigan.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of them at that time were in like distress and foreclosure. And so we were like, this is a beautiful neighborhood. And so we ended up picking up one of them. And then we've been working really hard on restoring it back to its natural beauty, but then also opening it up so that it has some of its really beautiful characteristics within it.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are two big purchases ideas in one go.
Oh, my
a
husband
boat
loves
and a
it.
house.
Oh,
all
he
in
loves
one
it.
fell swoop.
Yeah. So we ended up buying a boat 2 weeks later
Oh wow.
from Chicago.
Quite the travel.
Yeah, we drove it up the lake. Like we didn't. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, it was horrible. Yeah.
Why was it so bad?
It was like 11 hours.
Oh, jeez. So
We were both barfing at the end.
that's what I would do
It's an
mostly.
experience.
Yeah, you could tell your kids about it later on, and it'll be
we
funny.
told them.
Yeah. So why that house though? Why did you pick that one out of all of the houses that you saw? What was it about that
It
one?
was the cheapest. No.
Really?
No.
I'm like, that would be the reason I did it.
It has the most curb appeal. It has like the craftsmanship to it.
Okay.
It has a front porch, which is like beautiful. And then it's a block off of Lake Michigan. And then the one thing, so this is kind of funny. When I walked in, I looked and you could tell by the structure of the wall that there was a chimney behind the one wall that was coming all the way up through the house. And so my husband's like, well, that's not in use anymore. We're just going to tear it down. I'm like, are you crazy? Do you watch Fixer Upper? Like, we are
would never let you do that.
No, we are taking down that drywall and we are leaving that beautiful brick. And so when we tore it all this, the entire chimney goes up through the entire middle of the house, all the way, and we opened up the entire ceiling, attic, everything. And it goes all the way through the roof. He loves it.
So how is it overwhelming though, to like go into a house and like gut the whole thing? Like, where do you even start?
No,
like,
it's not overwhelming. You just take a crowbar and start. I mean, where are you going to end is the real question.
That's what
I
I'm
mean,
saying. Yeah, like,
you don't. You
is
just
this
keep
a room?
going.
Is this a bathroom?
Or
Like, what is
I
this?
don't know.
Yeah.
We moved every single room except for the bathroom.
Oh wow.
We moved the kitchen, we moved the master, we moved every single thing in that house.
Wow. So how far along is it right now?
It is, so we already tiled. So I tiled the upstairs, my husband tiled the downstairs, and now I just finally picked out carpet. It took me a long time to pick out, carpet's hard for me because I like wood. But I picked out carpet. We just got our lighting. We picked out a beautiful handmade light fixture. We were just in New Orleans for last week, and we found a chandelier maker down there.
Oh, cool.
And had that, and so that's going to be the centerpiece coming down from the attic.
Oh, a chandelier maker. So someone custom makes chandeliers.
Custom made chandelier that's in the house that we don't live in. Yes.
So
good investment.
What is your style though? What would you say your like style for? What do you look for when you are putting things in your
Classic.
In your home? Classic.
Yeah, something that tells a story. Something that, kind of brings people together, I would say. I love big front porches, anything that has a lot of wood, brick, nice front, like being able to like have an inviting front yard, porch area is really great.
Yeah. So looping back to some woodworking stuff, How did you decide to go down? Because you sell a lot of like charcuterie board. I can't even say that word.
Charcuterie.
There you go. Boards and
Which
cutting
means
boards.
cured meat.
Does it?
Yes.
Learn something new every day.
I've been corrected on Instagram.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Did you
People
say it
tell
meant
you.
something else?
No, I was like, what is it? And people sent me like all the definitions. And I was like, I got it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm from Wisconsin. It includes cheese.
Yeah,
like,
it has to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It has to.
Yeah.
So why did you delve down that road with, because I mean, there's so many routes you could take.
Oh, there's so many
woodworking.
routes.
Why did you choose that one?
Well, you get bored.
Yeah.
Every table turns into the same table.
Okay.
And so you kind of want to branch out into different sort of things. And like you want to upgrade your tools. And so like I upgraded and I've done signs. And then around Christmas time, I decided to like start doing some cutting boards and charcuterie boards and cutting out handles. And really a lot of it was Instagram was a lot of inspiration for me, just like starting out to be able to find something that you want to do and remake it into your own and put your own style on it.
Yeah, because Instagram has been like a huge thing for you. You have grown tremendously on there and continue to grow. I think I looked at your Instagram like a week ago and you already had 1,000 more followers this week.
1,500 more.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh.
But who's counting?
It's like always growing. What do you think attracts people to your page and your style and things like that?
I don't hide on Instagram. I feel like a lot of people when you first start out, you don't want to share your secrets and people ask you questions and a lot of people don't tell you, or like if you're just starting out you're like, oh, I can't tell him.
They can't know.
He lives in Florida. He's going to take my secret.
Yeah.
I mean, once when you get over that and you realize that Instagram, I don't sell on Instagram. So it's not my thing to sell on there. My thing is more about community, teaching, writing, and being able to show technique. And so once when I started answering questions, putting myself in front of my phone, essentially the camera, and really kind of talking about what I do on a daily basis, and really like I have so many guys ask me questions about how do you do this? How did you get that finish? And I think it's such a compliment.
Right.
And so that's, I think, what has really grown and really, really helped. And I love it. Like, it's a big community on there.
Yeah, because they just want to know, you know. They need some help.
They just want to know from a girl.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, I've tried everything and failed, so.
What was the biggest failure that you did? Did you try to make a table and it turned into something completely different?
I haven't really had that many. I mean, I just had an epoxy fail a couple weeks ago. And where my epoxy like all overheated, my chemical reaction was wrong, so my mix was wrong, and it just like woo, like it all started like a witch's potion started bubbling, and I'm looking at it, and it started like steaming up, and I'm calling my husband, I'm like, this isn't good, and I'm like, I'm leaving the shop, so if you stop by here later, it might be gone. I don't know.
Also looks cool, so maybe you should have filmed it, you know, put it up.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, but yeah, I should have filmed it, but it smelled really bad, so I was like, I'm out of here.
You gotta get out.
That was a pretty big fail. It's an expensive fail because epoxy's not cheap. So yeah.
You do DIY stuff too.
Yeah.
You know, did that kind of come at a similar time with the woodworking, hand in hand?
Yep, I would say so. In my house, I started like looking around and trying to figure out, you know, what I could do to be able to improve it, and so that really kind of did a lot of my DIY stuff in there. I mean, I've done everything craft-wise, painting-wise. Yeah. You know, do this, and it's everywhere because I just can't seem to keep my hands to myself, so you know.
Well, it's a good way to use your hands then. You're always improving stuff. What was is there like a favorite project that you've done with that? One that you were like, wow, this is actually really cool? Because there's some ones that you see and you try to do them and then you're like, wow, this is not what the picture looks like at all.
Oh yeah.
But was there one that you were really surprised by that you were like, wow, this is actually really helpful and good? So
I did do like an art wall for my kids at home, and it's in our kitchen, and I had to reverse the knobs, so I ended up taking like cabinet pulls and
What is an art wall?
Like, so it's strings. I mean, I saw it on Pottery Barn.
Oh.
Shame Pottery Barn. So like, because they give me all my ideas. So I took these cabinet pulls and I had to reverse thread them into the wall, and so that it looks like the cabinet pulls are coming out of the wall, and then I took twine and wrapped it around and went back and forth.
Okay.
And it's become like this big centerpiece in our house because the kids can come in and hang up their beautiful artwork from school every day.
Yep.
and put it up there. But I was actually kind of surprised how much I liked that, because I thought it was going to be one of those like up for a month and then be done, and it turned out really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My parents keep all my art, and you look back at that and you're like, oh my, why did you keep this?
You must have Rubbermaids just full.
Oh, it's all full.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I would never have looked at this drawing of Santa Claus that I did when I was 3.
Oh, when they don't look, it's in the trash.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
There's so much.
I know, every day.
It's like every day.
Every day you come home with more.
I'm like,
somehow.
I'm just glad you went to school. Like,
right.
I mean, like,
right.
I don't need proof you were there. I know.
Yeah. So what has been the hardest project for you as far as woodworking? Like, was there a specific client that gave you a really tough request, not even just based on timeline, but like the scope of their project?
Oh, there's been some really pushed timelines.
Yeah.
So like there are some that have been really, and it wasn't that they were being inconsiderate, like saying like I need it done. It was that I had worked with them before, and they were like, we are really in a crunch. Can you do this in a week? Can you do this in 2 weeks?
We know how speedy you are now, so.
I know.
Yeah.
And so there's been some time crunches that have been hard, and I've been at the shop like really late, working 12 hours and then going back and forth, because since now my shop isn't in my garage anymore, and it's 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
I have to go back and forth. If there's like a finish that I have to go back and like reapply at night, stuff like that, that makes it a little bit more difficult. But yeah, the one disadvantage to having your shop not in your house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
you
true.
can't work till midnight and go to bed. You have to drive.
Do your kids get involved in any of this stuff? I mean, I think,
they try.
Is woodworking dangerous for kids? I don't know.
No.
Probably the milling or something is
Milling,
dangerous.
saws, whatever.
Yeah.
Just hand them a hammer or whatever.
Come on, get to work.
Yeah,
We need this by Tuesday.
Yeah. So my daughter, my oldest, is in 6th grade, and she's taking tech ed right now.
Oh yeah, I took that.
And so her last day was today, because they switched classes, and she made like a race car, and she made a keychain holder thing, and she was so proud of it, and it's actually not too bad. Like, I was pretty impressed with her finish, because I gave her some tips.
Yeah.
But here's the best part. She didn't tell her tech ed teacher what I do.
Oh, yeah?
No, she's like, I'm not going to, she's really shy. And I was
okay.
like, well, did you tell him what I do? And she's like, no.
He
I'm
can't,
like,
no.
She's like, you can't come in. I'm like, I'm not going to come in. I'm too busy. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, but no, she wouldn't tell him. But,
Wow.
And then my younger son tries to like put everything together with one nail and a hammer.
I feel like that's,
Yeah,
I've been there.
It's like the birdhouse that goes bad.
Right.
It's like,
It seems convenient when you're doing it, but then once you see the final product,
and I'm like, not so
it's all
good.
disheveled.
Yeah.
Do they inspire you to do things though, like different projects? Like having kids now, does that give you a different perspective in like what you want to create or anything?
Does inspire and ask mean the same thing?
Yes, it does.
They ask me for quite a bit. Like, they want new shelves. So like,
So they're like demanding them.
well, they
not
like,
demanding,
because
but
like, Mom, my Legos are all over the floor. Like,
I would like somewhere to put
I
these
would like some
hints.
shelves. And my son is like, where's my shelf? And I'm like, in this shop. Like, I don't know, your mom's busy.
Yeah.
But I mean, no, they've inspired, because their entire rooms are actually built by me. And so like, the desks, the shelves, their beds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've done all their rooms.
Wow. Is that how it's going to be in the new house too? Are you going to like?
No.
No. I'm over it. Don't ask me for anything.
I don't
else.
have time for projects of my own
I'm
anymore.
tired.
Nothing gets done in my house.
Yeah.
My house is a mess. I have like a Pottery Barn table. Like,
That's it?
No, I mean, like, it's anything that I bring in the house, and if I take a picture, somebody usually wants to buy it or something. And so I don't have a lot of time for my own sort of projects, unless I'm going to test something. Like the charcuterie boards was a test for me.
Yeah.
Like a new cabinet style sort of thing is a test. So being able to do that sort of stuff. But otherwise, I can look at any picture out of any catalog and make that particular piece pretty much. So
Really? Mm-hmm. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I wish I had that skill. So you can just like look at something instead of like buying it. You're like, I'm just going to make this at home.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can do it.
I don't.
Get a book.
You're giving me
You can read. You can do it.
You're making a lot of assumptions here.
You have 2 hands. You can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I could try. So what projects are you doing right now? Like, what are you up to?
So I have another charcuterie board, big one, and then I have a
Like close to the 12-footer one?
Yeah, another big.
Oh, another huge one.
Yeah, another big one, and then I have a conference room table that I have to model around a barn. Then I have a barnwood wall coming up, and then I have another desk to do. And then I got a couple other stuff that's still kind of under wraps. But
Okay.
I'm a couple months out. My client list is usually my running list is usually a couple months out each time.
Yeah. Did you say a conference table around a barn?
Well, it's a conference table like based on what's inside of a barn. So I have to like kind of model what you would find in a barn and put that into a conference table.
Okay.
Minus the cow poop. So,
Keep that there.
Yeah.
We don't need that.
That's not going to come with, but somehow we're going to make it look like it was there. But, yeah.
So when you were growing up, is this what you thought you'd be doing? Like, were you always more of a hands-on?
Handsy. I was very handsy, yes.
I feel like handsy is a dangerous word to use, but yeah.
I like that word.
But you always went for it?
So my dad's a home builder.
Okay.
So I always wanted to be a home builder. So I always watched him. He was on site all the time, and I went with him on site. When I was a kid, that was my job, to follow him around.
Oh, that's fun.
I'm an only girl, so I would follow him around. So I always wanted to be a home builder because I saw him go through the entire process of meeting with the client, and then he drew all his own houses. My grandfather was an architect.
Really?
And then my
it's just like in your blood.
And then my great-grandfather is a woodworker. So I got a couple of his pieces in my house, which are really cool because they're very old school craftsman-like, and I can't even compare to what he did. And his imagination and creativity is like outstanding. And I never knew him. He died when my mom was in high school. So I have all of his notebooks that list his ideas and plans. He hand drew everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool to look back on.
Yeah.
So before you started making in your garage, up to that point, was it in the back of your head that you wanted to do this, or were you just doing other stuff?
I always was crafty.
Yeah.
And so before I had kids, I went to college and I was in corporate America.
Okay.
And I worked in that for 10 years before I had kids. But during that time, I was doing this stuff, like I was making the Christmas wreaths or the fall ones and like hot gluing everything I could together.
Yeah.
And then I ended up going and getting a bunch of like picture frames and arranging them on my wall and doing like collages. And I had a couple friends of mine be like, can you come to our house and like measure, because nobody could measure it out and hang them up.
Oh, really?
Like in a collage,
yeah.
because it's not easy.
Yeah.
And I was like, sure. I'm like, you just need graph paper and a ruler. I'm like, let's do it. You know, give me a bottle of wine. Let's go, you know? And so I was always really, really hands-on. Even when I was a kid, so I was always the one like building in the shop with my dad or doing like little stuff or helping him out. Pretty much with a broom. He just handed me a broom.
Yeah.
Had to sweep everything, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
You had to work your way up the ladder, I guess.
I had to work my way up. Picked up a lot of trash. Yeah.
So what was that feeling like though when you got the feeling of like, I want to stay up till 1 a.m. and like watch these videos and stuff? Was that like
addictive?
Was that like a really cool thing though, that you were like, you liked something actually that much?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are looking for that.
Yeah. I just wanted to keep learning more and more and more. And there's so many good people out there that do videos. And everybody, I get questions almost daily if I have a YouTube channel, and I don't, because I don't think I could do justice to what I see out there. Like, I mean, just in like, I watch all these people and idolize them in a way that I don't know if I could, like, you know, put out the same quality video or not skip a point or, you know, like, I mean, I could try, but Instagram keeps me pretty darn busy.
I bet. Yeah. Do you get some clients through Instagram and stuff like that? Like people that reach out to you and be like, hey, I need this.
A little bit. Yeah, I do a little bit, but like I said, it's really not about that. I've gotten more, so I have brand collaborations and stuff like that on there, and so I work with 2 companies as an ambassador right now.
Okay.
And so that's kind of fun, and then I get weekly emails of other people that want to collaborate and do stuff on Instagram, and they want you to push their product and that sort of thing, which is always an interesting conversation.
Right. Yeah.
It's a whole delicate
balance of keeping true to yourself
when
and
you
not
don't
seeming
have an
to
agent to handle it. I mean,
I'll do it for you. Don't worry about it. I'll be your agent.
There you go. You can field all those emails, but and it's everything from like woodworking stuff to, I mean, like a screwdriver to like, I got one today for like a face mask for like makeup and face mask. I'm like, you realize that my audience is 87% male. Like,
hey, you need good skin, you know.
I'm like, they are literally rubbing sawdust in their pores every day, and they look amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like,
maybe that's the new face mask.
I say it daily. I'm always like, I'm glowing. Like, I'm like, it's
all the
the
dust.
sawdust facial, but it's the funny stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was what was the one thing I guess you learned through woodworking that like changed the game for you? You're like, oh, this works like this? Wow, that's crazy.
There's two things. It's joinery, so your joinery method on how you're putting together stuff. So you stop putting, when you get advanced, you stop putting together stuff with screws because wood has movement.
Okay.
And so then you learn that screws are bad.
Yeah.
And everybody will tell you on Instagram screws are bad.
Really?
Yeah, they are. And so and the wood moves. And so you got to understand your moisture content, your wood type, and how much your wood moves. And so learning your joinery method with either like dowels or dominoes in my case, or, like any sort of dovetail or anything like that is a big game changer when you cross over into like the hardwoods and understanding what you're doing.
Right.
And then the other one is learning how to do a really good finish. On your wood. And that's what takes you from like the DIY weekend warrior.
Like something that I would do on a weekend?
I can come up and touch your wood and you know what I mean. Yeah, I can tell what you're doing with it, and just kind of takes you to the next level of learning about finishes, and then you invest the money in knowing how to do a really good finish and something that's going to last. Because I have stuff in restaurants.
That's true,
it's
wear and tear.
It's getting beat to hell.
Yeah.
So, you got to know like what is the water doing? What the cleaning products, because they have to use certain cleaning products on it, for the FDA and all that sort of stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true too. You don't even think about that.
Yeah, and so you got to know, and you got to research, and you got to spend the money on understanding and the products. So yeah. But those are the two things: joinery and finish.
Now
you can do it.
Now I know that wood moves. I wouldn't even have thought about that.
Wood is a living, breathing thing. It's got a mind of its own. Let me tell you.
Yeah. I bet.
Yeah.
You could probably tell if I just started going for it. You could tell that it had a mind of its own.
I'd still cheer you on.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I'm still going to try. So, back to your house real quick. How did you design it? Like, how did you decide which room is which? How did you decide, like, how do you want to decorate? Like,
well, the crowbar had a lot to do with that.
We broke through this wall. It's not going to be here anymore.
It's not going back.
Yeah.
And then my husband's like, we're going to put this back. I'm like, that costs money. It is now an open floor plan.
Yeah, that is like fixer-upper then.
No, it was more of like that open floor plan feel, kind of bringing out that original characteristic.
Yeah.
We're doing our cabinets and everything. We're doing open shelving. It's very much, the kitchen's very Chip and Joanna-like, but which is not necessarily my style. But the kitchen is small and dark, so it needs that lighter kind of stuff that they always are going for, that kind of modern farmhouse.
Yeah.
And so we'll fit some of that in there, and then there is two custom barn doors that I'm putting in, new mantle, stuff like that. So you kind of walk around and you figure out, how is it going to work for you, your family, everybody, how are you going to fit your beds in there? You have no idea how many times I measured out beds in the bedroom just to make sure that they fit, and moving walls, and then the closets, and just kind of working through it and making sure that it works for your style and your family.
Yeah.
And go back to Pinterest for advice. Yeah.
Over and over
and
again.
over. Yeah.
So I guess to wrap it up here, what has been a moment for you so far that has been like a cool experience that you've had, maybe helping someone out or giving someone a tip, and they went on to like make something really cool, maybe with a fan or something on Instagram, or even a client that didn't expect something? Has there been a big moment for you?
I think a lot of it goes back to, my clients are always, they trust me, and they give me would they say what they want, and then I have to turn around and produce what I think they are saying out of their mind or what they're picturing.
Right.
And it's always been the most rewarding experience to be able to bring in the final product. And a lot of my clients don't follow me on Instagram. It's like a totally different world, because there's your Facebook family, and then there's Instagram, and I post the most on there, so they don't see the updates, so they really have no idea.
Yeah, it is like a big reveal, kind of like Fixer Upper when they pull those things.
And I'm pulling the billboard away, and the sheet, and I'm hoping and crossing my fingers, but a lot of it is just being able to take what they are envisioning and combining styles. So they'll pull something like a finish. They'll tell me, they'll be like, I love the bar down at a certain restaurant. I'll be like, oh great, I'm definitely going there. I'll go check it out for you, you know. And then they'll pull something else from Pottery Barn. They'll be like, but we love this base. And then the next thing will be like, can we do metal? I'm like, yeah, let me find somebody, And so start being able to bring their kind of vision to life, because the thing with custom furniture is they're coming to you because for a reason.
Right.
And the reason is they can't find whatever they
wherever
want.
Wherever it is in the world, yeah.
It doesn't fit either their space, it doesn't fit their family, they don't like the price, and to be able to take it within budget. So I always offer a wide range of budget for people too. Like here is where we start with your simple pine, and we can work all the way up to your walnut and your cherry, and being able to work within their budget and then delivering something for them that they're going to keep for years,
right,
and eat on. I mean, the best part is the tables, so they can eat on them and have Thanksgiving on them, and
and have family moments, and cool.
And then they send you pictures, and it's really great.
And they're crying while they're eating because it's so
crying.
Beautiful. That's what I would do.
I mean, the tears. That make sure your finish can take tears.
Right. It's a tear-proof table, so you can cry all you want.
It's great, being able to offer that and make something that they can't find and want and have in their head.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of the time you are blowing people's expectations out of the water too.
I sure hope so.
Yeah, I would assume. Otherwise, you wouldn't be getting more and more people.
So,
right, exactly. Yeah.
They're still calling, and I get a lot of repeat.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of repeat customers, which has been really, really great. So if I make a table for them, then I'm doing bathroom shelves for them next, or or a coffee table, or can you make this, or my son needs a desk for college, and all sorts of stuff like that. So
because I mean, it's incredible the amount of things you can make with wood.
Everything.
Yeah. Literally everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Wood sandwich. I mean. Why not, right?
You can. You could definitely do it.
I could try.
Yeah. So where can people find you on the internet, and where can people contact you?
So I'm on Facebook on Wisconsin Farmhouse or Jamie Bradford, and then Instagram Wisconsin Farmhouse, and then also my website is wifarmhouse.com. I'm not on my website too much. I put a couple charcuterie boards, but my contact information is on there. I just haven't put a lot of stuff on my website because I'm so worried about opening that gate of the demand, and being able to keep up.
I did browse the website, I was going to get a charcuterie board.
I know, right? Yeah. The charcuterie boards. But pretty much people, I got one for you.
Well, what?
I got a call the other day from somebody who found me off the website, who follows me on Instagram, and she called me and she was trying to send me an email, and she didn't think the email was going through, and so she's like, I saw your phone number to talk to me and to tell me that she watches me and that she's so happy to see me every day on stories, and
that's cool.
It was really cool, but at first I was like, who is this?
Sorry.
How'd you get my phone number?
Yeah.
Like, is this a prank call?
Yeah.
But no, it was kind of cool. So that made my day, actually.
Yeah, that's really great. The amount of stuff I could see on the internet and Instagram and stuff via stalking you on the web.
You're not the only one.
It was really incredible. It's really cool what you make. So everyone, make sure you go follow her. And thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, we got an applause! Yay!